Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your end of March 2019 tarot update. It's Raina here, and it's actually raining here too, so for once I'm accurate on both counts. Okay, so this is the Morgan Greer deck that I'm using today for this particular reading. And oh, usually I don't put that card down second, but that's okay. It was meant to be, right? Okay. So the heart of the matter is the Judgment card. And by the way, if you've watched me before, you've probably heard me say that I'm a Sagittarius too. So I'm looking at these cards from my own life as well. And remember that this is like a general focus, so I talk about all different kinds of things, but obviously I can't touch on every area. And sometimes people will write to me and say, do you think it could be this? And they've come up with some great ideas. So by all means, think about how it might apply to your life. And not so much as, you know, fortune telling, which I don't like to ever, I would never characterize myself as that. But more of like a snapshot of what's going on in your life, the synchronicity of it, and how can I learn from these cards a better way of life. And the heart of the matter being the Judgment card is a card of rebirth, and also the chickens coming home to roost in the form of karma. And I was just sparring online with somebody, as I like to do, and you know, they mentioned karma, and it's obvious that most people think of karma as punishment, and karma means action. And so that's why we say good karma too, because it's not just something bad, but it's about action. So every action creates an equal and opposite reaction. Is that how it goes? We can say there's cause and effect in the universe. So with the Judgment card, it can be that you are seeing how seeds that you've planted have come into fruition. Now, this could be something that you wanted to occur. This could be something that is unwanted, but maybe due to your own fears that you allowed to go on. And in general, with this reading, I'm seeing it as being more of a personal matter. In the prior readings that I've done for this series, I've been seeing it more as work-related, but this particular one may appeal or apply more to Sagittarians who are dealing with relationship issues. And I'm saying, you know, relationship because there is this, you know, there are some cards here that suggest that. So I'm just going to keep going. I usually kind of tell a story, but it's not the only story. Let's just put it that way. So judgment can be like a judgment, like a legal judgment. And, you know, and it doesn't, tell you the truth, it doesn't have to be like a romantic relationship, because it could even involve something with child custody and things like that if it's legal, or maybe even inheritance issues. So in the past position, we have the Chariot card, and this card connects with Cancer. This could be a Cancer individual in your life who you have been dealing with, and maybe now something has come to a head that has made it like, okay, we have to, you know, the relationship is in a certain place right now. And so it's like a crossroads of sorts. And with the Judgment card, it can be that you have to use very good judgment with this person. Actually, the Six of Cups is a Cancer card too, so this could really be talking about it. You have to like use your judgment whether or not this relationship is a healthy one. And as I said, this could involve a family member, a friend, what have you. And let's look at the higher message to give us some ideas here. The higher message is the Three of Swords. So this is a card of rejection, and this could mean that this individual has rejected you maybe more than once, and you were in denial over it. You didn't see it for what it was. You were trying to maybe make excuses for their behavior for whatever reason. And you realize that, yes, this is the truth of the situation. And if this is like, if you are divorcing this person, maybe they're like a narcissist, and you have tried so hard to like reach them, and they're just, you always feel like gaslighted. If I always want to say gaslit, or something like that. You finally, it's like surrendering to this, where you know that it just isn't going to happen. That this person, you can't make them understand what's going on. And you may have your heart broken because of it, because it may shatter an illusion that you have. We have here as the card that crosses you, the Six of Cups. This is a card of the past. This is a card of nostalgia. So, and it's a card of Cancer, the card of childhood. So if this is something that came from childhood, you may have had that fantasy since childhood, and you have to let go of it. Maybe you thought this person was your soulmate. This is the card of soulmates. And in the challenge position like this, it's saying, no, this isn't the person that you want to give your heart to, because this person is rejecting you. When you are vulnerable, when you're giving your heart to this person, they're flinging it back to you. And they may do it in many different ways. They may accuse you of not caring enough. They may, and you may be saying, how can I prove my feelings? But the way that they want you to prove your feelings is usually going to involve a lot of control on their part. And it's not going to actually be a healthy relationship. So don't fall for that illusion. That with the Six of Cups, there could have been good times. And maybe you focus, we're Sagittarius. We focus on the positive. So if we're dealing with a difficult individual, we may think, oh yeah, there's good in this person, and there is. I have found one of the most crazy-making aspects of dealing with people that are narcissistic or borderline personality is that they have good qualities. I was just saying this to my partner the other day about, people that we know, and they have good qualities. And then when they are in a negative space, it's really bad, because it's almost like it's almost like, being demonically possessed or something. And whatever the reason, that's for them to evolve into. It's not for us to try to save them from themselves. They have to come to the light. And, I think people that, like a lot of Sagittarius, I believe are like this, who are very filled with light, that we tend to attract people like them. Excuse me. We tend to attract the people that, are jealous of light. I just said this to Pisces, and I believe that's true of Pisces as well. And, understanding this, understanding that you are somebody who tries to see the bright side of things, that is not a liability. But you may feel it has been, because you may feel like you have been taken advantage of, had your heart stomped on. And you know what? Your job is still to be a light unto the world. Don't allow somebody to, put out that light, to try to diminish that light. And the way that you do that is having good judgment, you know, about what it is that you need to do next. And speaking of what you need to do next, I'm kind of morphing this position into advice as well, but it can be what, you know, is in the near future. But I like advice because it gives you more of self-empowerment, what you can do, rather than this is coming in your future. So it would basically be, with the Three of Cups, celebration. And you know what I think? This is really interesting. Let's say that you have gotten divorced from somebody and they were the ones that initiated the divorce, but in the interim, Sag, you have found out with the Three of Swords that that person really did betray you. I mean, not betray you, reject you. And you realize that they are the one with the problem. You felt rejected because maybe they left you, but now you realized that it was the best thing that ever happened to you. And that's what, you know, I really think that this kind of card is not just a frivolous, light card that I think sometimes I have looked at it as. I think it's really like celebrating the understanding that you have been liberated from something, that your life has the potential of getting much, much better. That you can, you know, and when you feel better, I think you attract better to you. And so it's like a win-win situation. When you're in a relationship with somebody who is very draining, again, it doesn't have to be a spouse. It could be another type of relationship. But you feel like you are being vampirized by somebody energetically. When you get away from that situation, there is a sense of relief, because you feel like you're going to be able to be yourself again in that full sense of the word. The outcome is the Six of Pentacles. And this is a card of, you know, again, I'm going to go through a scenario with inheritance matters, because this is a card that is associated with inheritance, along with the Ten of Pentacles. But this is about give and take. And one thing that I want to say, using the idea of the narcissist, is that when you're dealing with somebody like that, or maybe a borderline personality individual, you will notice that they don't really care about your interests, your ideas. It's all about them. If you've ever had a relationship with somebody or a conversation with somebody, and that you were just sitting there listening to them talk, and they never seem to care about your input, except to make sure that you were paying attention to them, that is a one-sided relationship. And you deserve somebody that's willing to listen to you, that is willing to give you energy in whatever form they do. So, you know, because this is Pentacles, we think of, you know, actual cold hard cash. And it could be in some cases. But, you know, I'm thinking of a legal judgment for some people. And let's look at that from that perspective. But I was going to say that it doesn't have to be, because that's why they call money currency. You know, well, that's according to New Agey types. It's like an energy exchange, which it is. I mean, you could have bartering where you don't have actual coins that are given, but it's like you give me this in exchange for me giving you that. And money is just a symbol of energy, of an energy exchange. So somebody has to work to earn those coins, and then they don't have to actually perform a task for the person that they're giving it to. They might, you know, that person, if somebody wants a massage and the other person doesn't want what you have to offer, that's where money comes in. That's why we have to stop making everything, oh, this is bad, you know, we should just have a bartering system and we shouldn't have money. Well, I don't know if that would be practical. And that's why they created money, because there had to be some kind of way to gain services from somebody that when you couldn't give it back to them. I think I don't know where I saw that. I don't know if it was Teal Swan or somebody, but I mean, yeah, I think it might have been one of her videos. And of course that makes perfect sense, because I was thinking in terms of bartering. I mean, that might be a better system, a fairer system. And it can work, and it might be really smart nowadays because of certain things that seem to be, you know, being done to kind of create this sense of, like, you know, an electronic monetary system where there's no tangible, you know, monetary assets. But I think that anything taken to the extreme is impractical and will end up losing our quality of life, right? So sorry for the economics little meandering, but the reason that I wanted to mention that is because I don't like when people say, oh, this person isn't bringing this to the table, and they're talking about finances. To me, that's very materialistic, because a couple has their own right to determine what is fair for them. And if one person isn't working, they may still be giving energy to the relationship in their own form. And nobody can measure that from the outside. It's really not fair for people to judge that situation merely because one person is working and one person isn't. I really feel strongly about that. But anyway, in this particular case, let's look at it from like I said, it's mutuality. So it's like, you know, you are going to, in the future, you're going to be looking for situations that are much more where you're also receiving compliments, not just giving them. You're receiving affection, not just giving it. So it does happen where a person is giving to others, and it's like they're not getting anything. And that's where that depletion comes in. That's where the energy vampire really sucks the person dry, because it's a one-sided deal. And by the way, I'm sorry for the environmental noise. I mean, I've lived in my current place for almost 10 years, and it seems like in the last year or so, it's really gotten a lot of, you know, intensely with the trains and stuff. But a lot of these trains are producing goods, so that could be saying that we are increasing our manufacturing. So I have to look at the positive in all of this. But anyway, so the other, excuse me, scenario in this situation, if you've received some kind of a judgment that has to do with money, and let's just use inheritance as an issue. It could be like child support, though, as well. The judgment comes in, but with the Three of Swords, there's the understanding that money isn't everything, that there still is this feeling of betrayal. So, you know, I'm just giving, you know, one example. You divorced the father of your child because he was cheating, okay? And he wasn't paying child support for whatever reason, you know, and so you have sought a judgment against him. Now, you may still feel kind of that sense of rejection from what led up to that divorce. Or it doesn't have to be divorce, it can be just separation, getting, you know, the two parties leaving each other, and then there's a child, okay? Or an inheritance issue that involves maybe even, you know, if it's two families, and like with the Six of Cups, it could be that one family got left out. Maybe you are the first family, you know, and the parent was only interested in the second family, just kind of like, you know, and sometimes in those cases, it's because they've been brainwashed by their narcissistic spouse to totally erase the first family, because that narcissist feels insecure. They feel like they're not going to benefit from the resources of their spouse, and they don't want to share it with the first family, and things like that. I mean, and also just like the emotional component of it. So whatever's going on, you may have to, with the Six of Cups in this challenge position, you may have to turn your childhood on its face and really see it for what it was. You may have like been painting this rosy picture that just wasn't there, and that's okay. And it's okay to realize that that if your parent did something like that, forgive them. I mean, it's not something that I can command people to do over time. Hopefully you can see their lack of alignment, their inability to have the strength to stand up to that person, and then you will have more compassion to understand why they did what they did, and not, you know, have like a very intense feeling about it. So it gives you a sense of peace, which is the bottom line. We're looking for peace, right? And what's coming in, or as I say, advice for somebody who is in that position, that you are dealing with some kind of a money situation, is to eat, drink, and be merry. I'm not saying it has to be alcohol. You can drink, you know, kombucha if you want. Well, that has a little bit of alcohol. Well, you know what I'm saying. Juice, fresh juice, cold pressed juice. So this is saying that maybe you have something to celebrate. You know, that might be speaking to a judgment that goes in your favor. But also realizing what you have around you, the people, the support system. Maybe you just have one person in your life. That's okay. And even if you don't, if you're, you know, because inevitably I'll get somebody who says, I don't have anybody, I'm all alone. Okay, but you're not being tortured, so that's good. That's a good day. And I would say, even with this card, find your tribe. If you feel like your family of origin let you down, find your tribe. Whoa. Sorry about that. I don't know how I did. I was trying to get the last card. And then for those people that it's a money thing, you see the scales. So this is about fairness. So maybe a fair judgment. It can also be, again, that going back to that judgment card and the karmic aspect, the aspect connected to Pluto, is that there is divine order, there is fairness in the universe, even though in the everyday world it doesn't always seem that way. So that's what I have for you, Sag. I went on quite a bit. I didn't think I was going to, but I hope that you got something from this. If you'd like a more personalized reading, the link is below. Have a wonderful rest of March. Take care. Bye.